Hello everyone! I am, as always, TheSynapZe, and this is Geek Criteek. Now, I know this is going to sound crazy coming from a bearded, bespectacled, overweight guy who hosts an internet review show called Geek Criteek, but I'm a pretty big fan of Dungeons & Dragons. Not long after starting college back in 2000, I ran into some folks around the student union who were trying out the new 3rd edition of the venerable tabletop role-playing game, and I decided to join them. To tell you the honest gospel truth, I consider that to be a real watershed moment in my life. Not only did I make a lot of friends and have a hell of a lot of fun, but I also found the game to be a great font of creativity for me. At first I started drawing my characters' portraits, then I wrote detailed backstories for them, and started giving them different voices while I was speaking in character at the table. Eventually I started to DM my own games, in which I wrote tomes of information on plot, settings, and characters. And around that time I started writing reviews of game errata on various message boards, which led me to writing movie and comic and video game reviews on various podcasts and blogs, which in turn led me to writing scripts for this show. When I was rattling off all my inspirations 5 episodes ago, I ended the list with Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson. Why? I guess I was saving the best for last. Yes, indeed. The year 2000 was a fantastic time to be a Dungeons & Dragons fan.
Give me the rod!
Oh, wait! No, it wasn't. You know another quality I had in common with my old gaming buddies? Mocking bad movies. Oh man, did we have a field day when this sucker hit theaters. Everything about this fantasy flick is freaking feeble-minded.
I'd have to put a feeble mind spell on myself to want to take you home.
Thora Birch acts like she's just down the gallon of Robitussin.
Yes, I violate the law in defying the council.
Jeremy Irons acts like he's on a caffeine and LSD binge, and he's going to eat your face once he's done with the scenery.
You can run, your ladyship, but you'll never run far enough!
The Wayans brother acts...
This is our big chance, huh? This is our big chance. Let's rob the magic school. This is our big chance. That's what you said to me, right?
like a Wayans brother. Oh, did I mention the bald guy with blue lips? There's a bald guy with blue lips. At one point he does this. Now, I know what you fine people who didn't get a good enough look at the title of this video are thinking. Am I going to review the Dungeons & Dragons movie? Well, Val, stop, man. What are you doing? Like, rhetorical question, buddy. I'm not reviewing that movie. I'm reviewing the sequel. Val, come on, get back here. It's not going to be that bad, man. Like, trust me, Scout's honor. It's going to be fine. Come on, we can do this together, man. Just relax. Okay. Alright. Well, what do you need to know about the sequel, Wrath of the Dragon God? Well, it premiered in the US market on the Sci-Fi Channel. Alright, buddy, I'll give you that one. Dungeons & Dragons Wrath of the Dragon God was made 6 years after the first movie. It had a tiny fraction of its forebear's budget, it starred mostly unknown British actors, and its European theatrical run was a box office disaster. And yet, the world has seemed to declare that this movie is far preferable to the original. Why do I think that? Well, probably because my Blu-ray box set of both films has the poster of the second movie on the cover. How many home video collections of the Batman films look like this? Probably not that many. But enough preamble, let's roll a gather information check on my opinion of this movie as we delve into the Wrath of the Dragon God. We begin with a trio of black robe-clad D&D villains as they push a canoe, unleash the Kraken, and part the Red Sea. You know, usual D&D villain stuff. Then they stumble across this movie's evil artifact. Ah, I get it. The first movie was about a rod, whereas this movie is about a ball. That sounds like a logical progression to me.
my pain ends, theirs begins. At last I am free of this undead curse.
I am released from my blue lip gloss. Yeah, so Bruce Payne's Damodar is the only recurring character. I hope that's okay.
What chance does Ishmael have against me now?
Not even director Geppy Lively can save them now. Next we meet our hero, Lord Barrick, who can't quite focus on his desk job because there's a gaggle of guys sword fighting outside.
Valerius! Have you forgotten all my lessons? You parry when you should attack. Captain of the King's Guard should always press forward. Forward, boy!
Fetch that rusty blade of yours and let us settle this in the battle circle. Unless, of course, you prefer that I come up to your chamber.
Whoa.
Where we might joust with,
Go on.
quills?
Oh. A choppily edited sword fight / shoving match ensues, with Barrick emerging as the victor. Huzzah! Then Valerius gives him a feather, the universal symbol of I could have kicked your ass if I wanted to, old man.
I will never forget what you have taught me. Especially this last lesson.
And what lesson is that?
To recognize when it's time to sheathe your sword.
In your...
For good.
Oh. Thoroughly humiliated and cockblocked, Barrick dejectedly slinks back home to his wife, Melora. Her sewing machine is broken, so she's trying to mend some old gloves with magic!
There are two different forms of magic. Mages like myself work with the arcane. Our power comes through knowledge and endless hours of study. But divine magic is completely different. It's granted by the gods.
Honey, I just entered a new tax bracket. We can't afford the multi-class right now. Then this guy shows up and reports that his neighborhood has suffered an unexpected surplus of evil. So Barrick loads up with his evil regulatory equipment and sets off to reduce the town's evil output back to acceptable levels of evil. You probably think I'm being glib, don't you?
An evil has descended on our village.
What kind of evil?
Those holes must lead to some unknown source of evil deep in the mountain.
Evil, yes.
Well, there's your problem. The town's evil main is ruptured and evil's spraying everywhere. We'll have to cut the power in order to fix it. Is your evil circuit breaker behind this?
The colossal black dragon sleeping in the heart of Hearth Mountain.
Those holes?
Are not holes at all. They're nostrils.
I don't mean to be pedantic, Barrick, but nostrils are technically still holes. After Melora's 4-volume encyclopedia on evil nostrils proves to be unhelpful, she casts a divination spell to figure out what's up with that dragon. Unfortunately, her DM recognizes this will completely upend the plot, so he has Damodar slap her down and give her a minor scalping.
Look.
Good work, honey. You discovered the secret MacGuffin book, which will no longer fit back on the shelf. Hooray! She fills in her boss, Oberon, who decides to confront Damodar himself. No need for him to worry, he has far less hair to steal.
I have broken your paltry spell, for I am Damodar. My master, Prothean, cursed me to return as a corpse creature should I fail him, which I did not!
He tasked me to identify his most believable, least hilarious acting performance.
Right back to you, good. I could use every ounce of your rage.
And I defy you to tell me I was wrong. So he basically spills the beans on his bad guy plan to use the ball to raise the long-dormant Black Dragon God and lay waste to the realm, complete with a lengthy, arbitrary deadline before he actually gets around to doing that. So it's up to Barrick to put together a ragtag adventuring party to get their hands on Damodar's ball. The first prospective member is this big burly dude, the finest hand-to-hand fighter in the kingdom. take Lux the Barbarian Queen instead. Up next is Dorian, cleric of the nature god Obad High. Stalwart defender, talented healer, lover of tattoos made of enamel paint. Two personal asides. One, Obad High is in the main pantheon of all the 3rd edition books, but in all the games I've played, I've never come across another player who's wanted to be a cleric of Obad High. Oh, plenty of Wiccan and hippie types joined me at the table, sure, but they always preferred playing druids, so they could punish non-vegans by turning into bears and eating them. 2. Free tip to all future filmmakers. In this current bad movie culture, it's unwise to use a name that has the sounds O and high in that order. People are going to throw spoons and footballs at your movie, and you're not going to understand why. Then Beric hires the elven wizard Ormeline, wielder of the arcane artifact known as the Chroma Key. And lastly, we need a rogue. Now, the main character from the first movie was a rogue, and he was a real albatross around that film's neck. So we're going to make this choice with the utmost care and seriousness. We've gathered together over 100 potential candidates, so number 1, you may begin your audition.
Peerless to pure-hearted. Right for the pickings. Just like I promised.
He has a Cockney accent. He's in! The rest of you can go home. We're done here! Let's take a moment to check in with old Dams. His half-orc valet is draining dark elf blood and feeding it to his boss through his spine. Yep, still evil. Now that the band's all together and ready to begin their epic quest, Beric takes a moment to bid goodbye to the missus.
The barbarian is very beautiful.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just thinking about that hot elf chick. You were saying something, honey?
Tell me, Lux, what did your brother see at the barrier peaks that drove him crazy?
Aww, the rogue is making friends.
How can we be sure that she too won't go berserk and put us all at risk?
No, Lux, you're forgetting how short he is. Aim lower next time. Back at the ranch, Melora and her mage co-workers are exploring every avenue available to them to find an edge for the upcoming Dragon Wars. My advice, don't bother watching Dragon Wars. Not worth it.
What is this? Explain.
I'm summoning a magmin.
So, you want to bring a magmin, a chaotic near-ferile lava baby, into this library, which is a room filled with wood and paper. Yeah! Let's try that!
Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground!
Director Geppy Lively's instructions were very clear on this matter. No audience member would be seated after the baboon stick vomiting on a lava baby scene. At the party's next campsite, Beric is drawn into a lethal ambush by... this guy.
You transgress into the necropolis of Klex the Malign.
2 things. 1, what do you mean necropolis? You mean this verdant, bucolic glen? You know, where I stand, the phrases City of the Dead and 100-acre wood are not exactly interchangeable. And 2, I resent the statement that Klax was malign. I thought it was an excellent puzzle game, and a real killer app for the Atari Lynx to be sure. Fortunately, the rest of the gang was around to bail Beric's fat out of the fryer.
Lee! The Lich is too powerful!
Time out! That's supposed to be a lich? A skeletal immortal archmage with piercing red eyes who bound his mortal soul inside a phylactery? What, do phylacteries in this world look less like small metal boxes and more like spirit Halloween masks? Damn it, now you're overcompensating. Don't aim that low. You'll get him next time.
Goblins. Where are they?
Oh no! The makeup department couldn't finish a single goblin mask in time! Did I neglect to mention that Beric's entire plan hinged on going to this goblin village and asking the locals really nicely where the bad guy was? Yeah, well, while we're here, we might as well paw through all their stuff. We are the heroes, after all.
There's a secret door beneath the bed. Your wit should be as fast as your hands. It's a trap. I want you all to see what would have happened if I wasn't here.
I'd need to trust goblin engineering a lot before I'd sleep there.
Stomach acid of a purple worm. Eat through anything.
Well, except for glass. And cork. By astonishing coincidence, you find a map that points you in exactly the direction you need to go. Suddenly... 44... An elder white dragon appears. Okay, get out there, Dorian. You got this, man. You're money, baby.
I was frozen today!
Well, shit. We lost the healer. Is anyone else feeling particularly boned right now?
If any of you wish to depart this quest, the time is now.
I'd understand if you'd all like to just scrap this game and start a new campaign in Shadowrun. Things may be looking bleak, but I know what'll cheer you up. Melora discovers that she was given a curse of undeath by Damodar's scalping and is gradually losing her sanity along with her life. But wait, it gets better! She's got a brilliant new plan to thwart the villain's scheme.
Page 893 is missing.
What do the runes say?
They say fire reveals all.
Is it your belief that setting fire to the Librum will reveal page 893?
This is what the Magman was trying to show us. The Turanian law remains closed to us because we have yet to show our faith in it.
So, the half-zombie woman, who, for all we know, is gradually becoming the bad guy's slave, is suggesting that we burn the book, which has so far been our only help in stopping the bad guy's plans. I'm going to need to consult with my advisor, George Michael, about this.
No. People are going to think we're in the chicken noise business.
No, not you. The other one.
I gotta have faith.
Make it so. So the holy book goes up in flames, and from the ashes is born, as you might expect, a Tasmanian devil. And Taz is nice enough to point out a nearby secret passage that leads to the Temple of Elemental Good.
Fire, wind, water, earth.
And Mila Jovovich. We rejoin our adventuring party as they travel undaunted through standard issue dank catacombs, when all of a sudden, what should arrive but...
Buried duck!
Dark metals, run!
Oh. Yeah. Dark Mantle. And all the Dark Mantle fans say, hey! Next, they chance upon a fiendish electric dance floor. They're able to put their heads together and figure out a narrow, safe path, but Nim fails his reflex check and gets zapped down to 0 hit points. But the worst is behind them. They're now at a perfect vantage point to teleport into Damodar's lair and attack when he couldn't possibly expect them. So they storm the breach, and Ormeline teleports herself into a wall. And Nim just slumps to the floor as a cage drops down on the other two from the ceiling. Damn.
Ishmael must be really desperate to have sent such fools.
Did every single one of you roll a natural 1 on your ambush? Of course, old Dams goes on to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory as he gives the good guys plenty of time to escape. Also, it turns out he can no-sell a maiming as good as any Cyclo. Don't worry about him though, because lizard men hold the key to regrowing lost limbs, just like in Marvel Comics. The gang ports back to civilization, Barrick drops the wounded off with some healers he hasn't fed the dragons yet, and he takes off home clutching Damodar's ball. He meets up with Oberon and Melora, who fortunately just discovered the unholy ball socket. Do you guys mind if I have this? No? Well, okay then. Thanks. Beric briskly jogs after Oberon to inquire about his sudden murderous rampage.
You are alive. Only by Damadar's graces.
If those of you at home are wondering, no, Oberon was not the Lich the whole movie. I brushed over the scene in which Klax killed him while he was taking a bath. Look, I'm sorry that I didn't share with you the naked, wet old man scene, okay? Maybe I just care too much. Klax makes the handoff to Dams, and this is enough incentive to light a fire under that dragon god's ass. Dams offers him a simple suggestion to become vengeance, dragon god. Become wrath. So he does. Amidst the ensuing carnage, Beric checks in with his corpse bride, who's firing off some Adobe After Effects filters, which produces a heavenly white ball. There's a pair of magic balls. Why didn't I make the rod ball comparison here instead of wasting it at the start of the review? Damn it, Synapse! You've been at this game too long to keep making rookie mistakes like this! Armed with the holy materia, Melora hopes to put a lid on the whole dragon situation, while Beric takes off to settle some accounts with Dams, which is not going to be easy since Dams has his Lich homie backing him up.
Kill him. Kill him yourself, oh great and powerful Damadar. Beautiful. The look on your face has made this whole endeavor worthwhile.
Wait, you can't walk out on me. I'll quote Kurt Vonnegut at you.
And so it goes, Lich.
So, with the hero bearing down on him, the villain turns tail and runs away. He runs away a lot. What a travesty. Damadar doesn't get to sword fight in the climax, or at any point in the movie for that matter. Why even bring Bruce Payne into this at all? The guy's a pretty good sword fighter, you know? I stand by my statement. But no, after hauling ass across a wide open meadow for a solid minute, Lux comes right the hell out of nowhere and yells Dammy off his horse. So now we're down to the wire. Beric needs Dams to reverse the curse because Melora is a hairbreadth away from death. And the holy white ball won't let any other mage save the day because she was the only one who believed strongly enough that fire was the cleanser. Damadar could just easily say nothing, thus letting the dragon god glass the kingdom and fulfill his revenge for him. The worst Beric can do is kill him, but he's been dead before, so he knows he can just bounce back from it. So what does Damadar do? Cave immediately. Do you ever get the feeling that some villains just don't want to win? So a newly moisturized Melora rises to the occasion and dunks the dragon into a lake. Yeah, it takes care of that. Then we get to the pitifully weak conclusion. Melora is appointed ruler of the Mage Council, but hell, between the Lich and the Holy Artifact killing most of them off, it's promotions all around. Lux gets a brand new horse. Ormeline and Nim get to catch up on their yard work. And for the crimes of unleashing a dread elder god and attempted mass genocide, Damadar is sentenced to a nickel in a medium security prison. That was Wrath of the Dragon God. There are 3 questions I can think to ask. First, is it better than the first movie? Of course it is, but come on, that was a pretty low hurdle to jump, am I right? Second, is it a good movie overall? It's decent. I mean, the acting's pretty good, the script is about average, but the ending and some of the plot points I actually rather disliked. But third, is it a good D&D movie? Yes! When bad movie night rolls around, I can throw on the first Dungeons & Dragons movie and laugh myself stupid, but it's almost not worth it, because as a fan of the game, I know that the movie's utter mishandling of the source material is going to aggravate me. Take, for example, the climactic final battle between hordes of red and gold dragons, both of whom have the fire subtype and are thus immune to fire damage. So how do they take each other down? With fire, of course. Oh, here's a quick math equation for that movie's beholders. Staggering intellect plus 1,080-degree vision does not equal easily bamboozled by a pitched rock. But the worst offense by far is the fact that the hero of that movie was supposed to be a thief. He identified himself from the first reel as a thief. Then he spends 2/3 of the movie casting spells and engaging in straight-up mano-a-mano sword fights. The guy has a wizard and a dwarven fighter and an elven ranger in his party, and they spend almost the entire flick doing absolutely nothing.
Let's go in.
We were not meant to enter this place. This task they must complete alone.
I've played D&D a multitude of different ways, with different settings, different stories, and different goals. But there's always been one underlying theme, that of a small group of characters who have defined strengths and weaknesses, pooling their talents together and achieving their victories as a team. And this movie nails this. Lux is a barbarian, meaning she's a fierce and powerful frontline fighter, but she also tends to fly into savage, uncontrolled frenzies during fights, which worries her teammates more often than not.
Barbarian, get a hold of yourself!
Dorian is a cleric, a class which historically favors blunt weapons. He's a soft-spoken, sagacious sort who serves as the team's moral center.
Going off alone to save a comrade is a brave deed.
Plus, he can make minor undead enemies GTFO. The wizard Ormeline can cast awe-inspiring spells, provided she's able to speak a string of eldritch words and perform a series of hand gestures.
Monos, Betori, Holo, Gibran.
Also, she only has a finite inventory of spells that she can set up at one time.
Ormeline, can you teleport him to a healer?
I have only 2 teleportation spells prepared.
Oh, let's not forget she's also an elf, so she gets that sweet bonus to detecting hidden doors.
I think there's something behind this wall.
Finally, our rogue Nim is a bitter, sawed-off, misanthropic little runt who earns his pay disarming traps and picking locks, although he's still needlessly surly and duplicitous even to his friends.
You'll have to all look away.
What for?
I'm about to employ ancient secrets of the Rogues Guild that I alone in the world have the ability to execute.
That's D&D. And that's my final word. If you already have this book on your shelf, well, I think you'll like having this movie on your shelf as well. Such a pity this box set came out just ahead of the recent release of the third movie, The Book of Vile Darkness. I did see it recently, and my review will be forthcoming on this show another time. But don't worry, I see a good moon rising for the next episode of Geek Criteek, because I'm going to have a howlingly fun bad movie for all you fine peoples. Until then...
This is Ona, a friend of mine since childhood. She will investigate for us.
Poor Ona.